Another thing you commented about was innovation.
Before we move on to that second point, I should like to point out that we have a robust social safety net for the elderly and the poor. And so one question would be why those people, if they can't afford insurance and they haven't been able to rectify their employment situation or whatever else is keeping it from them, aren't on the very robust and generous Medicaid system.
With that said, Mitch McConnell's already come out and said after the midterms that Republicans are going to start looking to cut Social Security.
He said he's going to cut them or he's going to reform them?
Probably cut. He's got to make some cut. Well, reform in any political talk is cut.
If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Certainly, we have to reform the entitlement programs because they're unsustainable and they are the driver of our debt and deficits. They'll bankrupt the entire country. We already have a very high debt to GDP ratio. This isn't going to be solved by taking a $100 tax refund out of middle-class pockets. This is going to be solved by reforming these massive programs that have grown wildly out of control. And that's what adults are going to have to do. There's one group of people who are saying that we're going to give everything away from free. And you say, well, Miss Ocasio-Cortez, where are you going to get that $40 trillion? And she says, well, you know, I'm not the expert on these things. You don't say. Truer words have never been spoken. And then you have another group that says, look, things cost money, and we're going to have to deal seriously with these programs. I think that the American people are smart, and I think that they're going to reward behaving like adults, especially as we have this childish idiocy at restaurants, at people's homes, in the streets. That's not how adults behave, and I think that fortunately we're headed toward a more adult politics.
So if you reform or cut those programs, you have more people who are uninsured. I just want to make that statement.
Excuse me,
so
repeat
unless
that?
you're fixing the issue of health care and you're just reforming these and cutting them off, people have paid into Social Security and Medicare, and one of the solutions is to raise the cap. So if you reform these and start putting people off, you just create a worse public health crisis.
When have we said that we're going to kick people off of Medicaid or Medicare? Show me that proposal
you
from the
can
conservatives.
just prevent people from getting it when they're 65. So now you have an elderly population that doesn't have any health insurance. Do you just say, hey, you have to work at McDonald's or work at Walmart?
To which proposal are you referring that will take Medicare away from 65-year-olds?
I'm not saying you will. You'll just say you'll stop preventing people.
You are. You're predicting
so
it.
You'll say
I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. What happens if Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny both descend before our...
65, sorry, no Medicaid. So what do we do?
Well, I certainly won't elect you because you're going to take away my grandma's Medicare. So I'm not going to elect you. I don't like your proposal one little bit.
Medicare to everyone.
So Michael Knowles again absolutely destroys these college students. I mean, this is what the guy is an expert at. He goes to these college campuses, starts talking basic politics with these radicalized left-wing students who are always very interesting looking in their mannerisms and everything. They seem to be very hopped up on something. Maybe it's just ideas. But, you know, so they're going back and forth, and Michael Knowles has tried to explain that you need to actually find the money somewhere when you're going to be increasing welfare. You know, the United States already has a massive welfare system. It costs the taxpayers a lot in taxes, and also it's shown very mixed results, I would say even poor results. Like the groups, you know, the communities that welfare is present in, you know, most people are on welfare. It doesn't actually help people get out of poverty. What it does is it incentivizes people to stay in poverty, to stay jobless, to not progress economically. And, you know, we see that across the board over decades of time as well. But if you are going to increase the scope of these programs, the money needs to come from somewhere. And this seems to be a detail that these liberal students just kind of think of as an afterthought. Oh yeah, like we'll figure it out or whatever. There's always a cost, right? You can't just magically make something happen, and it's kind of concerning the lack of attention to that these kids have. They have a very utopian idea. They have a very kind of like a fantasy that they want to have. Oh, everybody's going to be taken care of by the government, but where does the money actually come from? And have the programs that we have created in the past actually worked? Have we scrutinized that? Are these actually helping people, or is it just putting a Band-Aid on the problem and kind of pushing it off down to further generations? Let me know what you guys thought of this clip in the comments, and thanks for watching.